All right. Rob, the top 10 players in the NFL, and really the top 100 has been named. And the top 10 came out today. Rob G, can you read us the list?
Actually, it came out last night, Chris. But yes, I have the top 10 in order, 10-1. They finished the list on NFL Network last night.
Yeah, had a nice show. Yeah.
Big broadcast about it. Number 10. Kansas City Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones, who's currently unhappy with his contract.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought they had plenty of money for everybody.
Nah, I guess,
no?
Apparently
Okay,
not.
I guess not.
Apparently not.
Mahomes needs to have a conversation with them.
Am I right, Chris?
Like,
Seriously. Why are we short? Why can't we play one of the best players in the league, one of the top 10 players?
I'm taking less. Travis Kelce's taking
exactly.
less.
It makes no
sense.
sense.
We just lost Tyreek Hill. We might lose Chris Jones.
It's ridiculous. This is what we're talking about. Stop doing their work.
That sounds like a segment for tomorrow, Rob.
For real.
We're going to bookmark that.
Right, Chris? Stop it.
Nah, I mean, look, and I'm all for if I will take, if I'm a quarterback, I'm not against them taking less money to get better players and win. But if they're not going out and getting the better players, they're just counting on him to deliver.
Right.
Which he does, but still. Keep our stars. That's all I'm saying. All right, go ahead.
That's a tease for tomorrow's show.
Yes,
all right, here we go. Number 9, Dallas Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons. Number 8, Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. Number 7, the aforementioned Dolphins wide receiver, formerly of the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill. Number 6, Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. Number 5, the another aforementioned Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Number 4, Niners defensive end Nick Bosa. Number 3, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. Number 2, Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson. And number 1, the guy you just talked about, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
All right, look, this is the players, Rob, that vote. We know we've talked about players voting, but it's they got number 1 right. I think that's undoubtable now. I actually think he's been the best quarterback in the league the last several years. But this is the second time he's been number 1. But do you have the? I'm gonna go here. I think Jalen Hurts. I love him. I love all his intangibles. I'm big on that. And he improved dramatically last year as a passer. Remember, Rob, we've talked to guys down in Philly that loved him, but were like, he can't throw. And last year, he showed you he could throw. 66% completions, 22 touchdowns. Now, that's not that high, but he doesn't throw it as much as like the bigger superstar quarterbacks. He threw it like 150 times less than Joe Burrow, roughly. And so his touchdown percentage wasn't bad, but 22, only 6 picks. Great season. And in the Super Bowl, when they needed him to throw, Rob, to have a chance to win, he did it. He had a high percentage, threw for 300-plus yards, a touchdown, and ran for 3 touchdowns. So a fantastic performance. But I don't think he belongs ahead of Joe Burrow. And I would even say Josh Allen right now. And look, if you want to argue he had a better year last year than Joe Burrow, it's arguable. If you want to argue that he will be better than those guys, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, by the end of this season, that's definitely an argument. If he improves, and I expect him to make a jump. But right now, I think Burrow should have been ahead of him, Rob, and here's why. One, as much as Lamar and Jalen and some other running quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, he's not in the category of changing the game, but guys, really Lamar and Jalen are changing the way we view how the position has to be played. Like now it's like you can play it different ways. And even though that's the case, passing is still king. And Joe Burrow's a better passer, I believe. 2, he's done it a little bit longer. I get it. He's only been in the league 3 years himself. But for 2 of them, he's been great. Jalen's had 1 great year. I want to see Jalen follow up. I think he will. I actually think he'll take a jump. but I want to see it. And then here's the third thing, Rob. Jalen does play behind the best offensive line in football. And Burrow is playing behind one of the worst. Now, I think they tried to improve over the offseason. We'll see if they did. But last year was one of the worst. The year before, it was like bottom 10. And so he has played with worse offensive lines by a mile and still playing tremendously. So I think Jalen should definitely be in the top 10, but I would have had Burrow ahead of him.
I just think it's, it's always a recency bias.
Well, certainly with the players.
That's what I'm saying. He went to the Super Bowl, so they think that he's there, and Joe Burrow didn't last year. I mean, I can't look at that, and that's why I have a hard time with some of these polls and whatnot, because it's just what happened yesterday. You talked about Patrick Mahomes. You think he's the best quarterback the last 4 or 5 years, but he's not. He hasn't been number one every year.
He was number 8 last year.
Well, that's coming off of a year that people thought he had a bad year, Chris. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Remember, he had the 8 games in a row where he had a pick. I mean, so players look at him and, okay, he didn't play what he had played before, but number 8, I just think that's why.
Right, that was my thing. He drops to number 8?
How do you drop to number 8? I mean,
you know what Lamar was?
Not in the top 20?
He was in the 70s this year.
That's what I'm.
He was number 1. A few years ago?
But that's my point. Is like
I agree with you on that.
That's the issue I have with these. Is that's what these guys are. Oh wait a minute, who's in the Super Bowl? Oh yeah, he's he's a top 10. Oh yeah, what happened? Let's see. I don't know. Where was Aaron Rodgers on this list? I'm curious.
Check it out.
I'm just curious.
I want to say
where you got him.
I want to say he was in the 60s.
Yeah, he had a bad year. He had a bad year last year, so all of a sudden he can't play.
Rob G, tell us where Aaron Rodgers was at.
Do you know what I'm saying, Chris? Like,
oh yeah, no, it's totally. Yeah, it's totally.
Yeah, he was 51st overall in the 100.
Yeah,
and he was the 7th quarterback overall.
Right. But I'm just saying, and he had a bad year for him. So he had a bad year.
Age.
Yeah, and so they discounted him, and they did it before, Chris, before he had the back-to-back MVPs. I just think it's recency biased, and that's what people look at, and they just go, oh, yeah, he's had a great year last year, so I'm going to vote for him. Or he had a bad year, so I'm not voting for him. Or rather than taking a look at the body of work and really what these players have done. It's more than just one season, don't you think, when you talk about or is it
absolutely?
I don't think.
I mean, are you in agreement with me on the Burrow Hurts thing?
Yeah, Joe Burrow's body of work to me is been better because it's more. Right. I mean, what have they beaten the Chiefs and Mahomes?
They've
4 out of 5?
Three out of the last 4.
3 out of 4, Chris.
And we saw how close that playoff
and that playoff game, they were close to getting back to the Super Bowl. They just lost. I mean,
right.
And he won his last 8 to get in that position. Like, seriously?
Yeah. And this is look,
and Jalen Hurts had a great Super Bowl.
Right.
He played.
He did.
He
and
was
he
phenomenal. I mean, that might be one of the best performances for a losing quarterback, Chris. He played great.
He was great. Chris Jones of the Chiefs said it was the best performance he's ever seen from a quarterback in a Super Bowl. That's too far. He was phenomenal, Rob.
No, he played
great.
I
can't say it's the best when he also made the unforced fumble that played a large role in their loss. You know, they were up 14-7 second quarter. He dropped the ball on a QB draw, and Nick Bolton picked it up and ran 36 yards for a touchdown. Rob, if they go up 21-7 on that drive, it's a whole different ballgame. Now, and I don't want to say he played poorly. He still had an A- game. But when you talk the superlatives of the best ever by a quarterback,
right.
That's all I'm saying. But Chris Jones.
Right, and that's a big turnaround, and it's.
But he was great.
Yeah, he played great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He showed, I think, and he showed it most of last year, that he can throw the football. And so, Rob, now he does have a new OC. You know, he's got to get used to that, but Doug Peterson's still the head coach. But
and I'll be interested to see, now that they see what he does, do they force him, put an extra man in the box, and make him pass, Chris? We're just not giving up the run. Okay, we understand that. if you're going to get us downfield, we're going to have to live with that. But we can't allow you to run all over us,
right,
and then make the other throws. One or the other. I got to cut something off. And if I'm cutting off something from him, I'm cutting the legs off. I have to.
Until he proves otherwise. Because they have some great receivers too. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, like, they got people for him to throw the football to. So, but I agree. You try that, and if he proves it, that he's slinging it,
then you got to regroup and adjust, Chris. But you got to do something with your game plan on him.
Yep.